Caitlin Parker, welcome to the Unlaced podcast.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on. You're up in the Gold Coast at the minute, aren't you?
Yeah, I am at the moment. Loving it up here.
You've broken out of, everyone we're having on this show is broken out of Melbourne to be somewhere else for training.
Yeah, training, bit of the beach as well, but
yeah.
So good. Just
what
have
are
some
you? What are you? So what are you doing up there? One, obviously, you've gone up there specifically for training, but are you in like a training camp, or are you just up there with your coach or a team?
Yeah, so two others and myself went up to come and train with our Australian head coach, who's currently up here as well. So to get that, to get back into a normal routine again, be able to train with other people, because you can go mad training by yourself every day for the last 6 months, you know. So just having some normalcy in our routine, training with our head coach, and like, you know, putting the gloves on again and getting in the ring for some sparring as well. So I love it.
That's awesome. So are you the type of training you're doing right now? Like, how intense would it be? I mean, is it always intense for you? Because I assume leading into fights it's probably more intense than not. But
yeah. So like we usually train 3 times a day. At the moment we're just training twice a day. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's all like short, sharp sessions. So it'll be like an hour, like maybe over like an hour and a half each session. So it's all kind of short, sharp stuff, but we just, you know, keep ticking over. But at the moment we're doing 2 sessions a day. And then, you know, that's just conditioning and strength work in the morning, and then at night it's just boxing. So we're just going around to different gyms as well. So we're training at one gym in the Gold Coast, and we've been going to Brisbane every day. Oh, not every day, but you know, quite often to train at other gyms and just see people again.
That's awesome. So do you when you go to the other gyms, are you kind of doing that as well to spar different opponents or different styles and just change it up from the partners you're training with?
Yeah, a little bit. But at the moment, I think our coach just, you know, wants to get around and work with the different gyms and different coaches. And yeah, if they ask me for sparring, I'm always up for it. I'm always ready. So
that's a born fighter, you aren't you?
Yeah, love it.
I'm a massive boxing fan, by the way. So
awesome.
yeah, but and also more recently, I actually started. I didn't start boxing, but the gym I actually went to, they had like a proper boxing setup, and I just threw on the gloves because I was like, I had a really bad hip, so I couldn't do a lot of cardio. So boxing was kind of okay for it. It wasn't as, and I just fell in love with it, like the fitness and like instantly just the mind of like, I guess how intense the training is. Because I was training with someone, and he was we're doing like 3-minute rounds for like 12 rounds, like just different exercise, but I was fucked. So I admire so much.
Full body workout as well, though. People kind of don't realize, you know, you think just like moving your hands around, but it's your whole body gets into it.
It's so intense, boxing. And so I think like boxers, in my opinion, without training in every form of sport, but I feel like boxers train the hardest because, or they're the most dedicated, because it's like a body and mind. Like there's so much sacrifice on your body to stay in shape all the time. Like
yeah, it's a lot on our bodies, but as well, I really enjoy it, and I really love moving around with people. Like I feel like I have a lot of respect for like swimmers and things like that look at the same line, and like I feel like that is not a whole nother mindset. Like I feel with boxing, I'm always trying to develop new skills and different tactics and stuff, whereas if I was I couldn't swim or row or anything that just like takes perfecting just that one skill and being the best. Like I have a lot of respect for other athletes.
True, but no, I'm a massive fan of boxing. I can't wait to see, I guess, more fights, and even, you know, now building up for you. I did want to detail, just for some of the listeners who aren't aware of Caitlin Parker and some of her successes, and please correct me if I'm wrong here on some of them, because I did do my research and we do have some mutual friends that were kind of helping me out. But no, but you are. But for the listeners out there, Caitlin Parker is pretty much the highest internationally ranked female amateur boxer in the country, in Australia, right?
Yeah, as of 2019. They didn't do it in 2020, but yeah.
Well, so we'll carry that over to 2020, so that's still relevant. You've won a lazy 7 Australian championships. You're a bronze medalist at the Junior World Championships in Turkey. You're a silver medalist at the Youth World Championships, a bronze medalist at the Youth Olympic Games, and then also a silver medalist at the Com Games more recently in the Gold Coast, which is, I mean, it's not a bad CV. for someone as your age who's, just starting to hit her straps and obviously achieving for bigger. And there's a lot more to come, I feel. And I do want to go through some of the more recent experiences as, I guess, more people are becoming aware of your talent as a boxer, and I guess you're becoming more and more known with the Olympics coming up and whatnot. But obviously you've been fighting for as long as you can probably remember, or done combat sports for a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you start, and did you start in boxing, or was it a different form of combat? Or
I started boxing when I was 11, but I actually started with Taekwondo. So I did Taekwondo first. And if you've done your research, you probably know that my dad was the main reason for starting Taekwondo, because he wanted me to get a black belt in Taekwondo before he would let me walk to school by myself. He wanted me to be able to look after.
That's epic.
Yeah. So I got a black belt in Taekwondo. I had my first fights there, but I've always been big for my age. I was 9 years old fighting 15-year-olds and stuff in Taekwondo.
There's a myth actually, and then I do want to hear about your Taekwondo story, but there's a myth that supposedly when you were 13 you fought a 25-year-old.
No, it is. That was the first time I stepped into the ring. It was an exhibition. My first time in the ring was a 25-year-old.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
If I was 25 fighting a 13-year-old, I'd probably put my hand up and say, this can't be right, and two, I wouldn't want to fight, because if I lose, I'm not looking at myself in the mirror afterwards.
I feel like I look old at my age. Maybe she didn't realize. I don't know, but yeah, it's pretty crazy now that I think about it. But got me to where I am now, isn't it?
True. But that's a pretty unique. I mean, that's awesome by your dad. I think that you can't walk to school by yourself until you're a black belt in Taekwondo. That's pretty epic. So, what was that the main reason that you started combat sports? Really based off your dad pushing you towards Taekwondo?
Well, I started my first sport was dancing, but you've come a long way from that. I'm the most ungraceful person. It's bad. But he got me into Taekwondo first. That was my first combat sport. And I was probably 8 or 9. It was really young. Probably even younger than that. But then I did that. I got Taekwondo, but I'd had enough. I think I'd had enough. I got to black belt, and you had to wait a couple of years until you could then get to the next dan.
Right.
A bit of jiu-jitsu and a bit of grappling and things. But once I started boxing, honestly, I just found I fell in love with it. It's just like you were saying, it's just something else. There's something about it, and I love proving myself and against the boys. I love proving myself that I can do it. I can get in there against anyone, and I'm not scared. I love what I do.
Do you feel like the female part of boxing is becoming bigger and bigger now, and more respected, or fighting for women in general? Because I would say probably 20, 30 years ago, a lot of people would have viewed boxing as a male dominant sport, right? And now it's we have female fighters that everyone's tuning into.
So many more, and it's becoming so much popular as well on TV and things like that. It's so great to see, because female boxing wasn't big, and still I get comments from people, a lot of older people that are like, oh, you're a girl, you're fighting, surely that's not forever. I'm like, it's my career, this is what I do.
It's awesome. So did you fight a lot of males growing up? Because I assumed there probably wasn't a massive gym filled with female boxers when you were starting out.
So I couldn't actually fight in the ring with them, but that's all who I'd work with is just all guys. So I remember the first time I stepped into my gym in Perth with Fox. I stepped into there, and he put me with one of these guys, and he was Australian champion, and I was amazed. Wow, you're the best in Australia. I just working with him, and I was just amazed by it. I can't.
That's awesome. No, because one thing. What age did you start boxing? Were you 11? Did you say?
11, yeah. I had my first time in the ring when I was 13. I honestly just lost where I was going with that before, but I'm back. So
okay, we got you. I love that. You're allowed to be lost and come back as much as you want. It's all cool.
Yeah.
It happens to me every episode.
Yeah. So exactly. I started boxing when I was 13, but I really struggled to get fights because the first time I weighed in, I think when I was 13, I weighed 70 kilos, and I fight at 75 now. So I'm pretty much the same size since I was 13. And, fighting girls my age and weight was extremely hard.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, so it was a lot of patience for me. I had to be very patient and just keep training and just be ready for when I was able to get a fight. So yeah, I went to my first World Championships at 15, and I'd only had, I think that was my 8th fight there. So I really didn't have experience, but it's just the determination really from such a young age. Just always determined to just be at a higher level and try my best to succeed.
Do you feel like the skill sets, and I relate this with a lot of the people we get on the show around their sports and their disciplines, but particularly in boxing, I feel like there's so many life metaphors in like the boxing ring that the day-to-day life becomes a bit more experienced, because like it can't get worse than getting hit in the face or getting KO'd and then getting back in. You know what I mean? Like I feel there's so many fundamental benefits that translate into like day-to-day life. But do you find that? I mean, do you find being a boxer gives you an edge, like in the real world at all?
I feel like from a young age, when I first came into the gym, I was a very, very shy individual. And I had not a lot of self-confidence at all. I feel like through my boxing experiences, coming through the ranks from like a young age as well, I feel like it really brought me out of my shell. It gave me more confidence. You know, I felt a lot better mentally and physically when I was boxing, and it did a lot for me. And it like I said, it does toughen you up. You know, I'm sparring boys from a young age. Like I'm trying not to show them. Like if you know, they sometimes they could get me a good one, and I'd be hurt, but I'm sitting there like, no, I'm fine. Like just like, You know, I never want to show them. Like I just wanted to just be in there with them. I wanted to be one of the boys. You know, I just wanted to be in there against them. I didn't want them to see me as weaker or anything like that because I was a female. You know, I wanted to come across as tough, and yeah, that came through the years.
That makes you unique, I think. But I think one thing, not regret for my parents not doing it, but what I would have loved if I was young would have going into like a combat sports early for like self-confidence and development, and like, you know, just to hold your own generally day-to-day life. Because I actually did a boxing fight at the start of the year and I got my ass whooped. But I fought a guy I shouldn't have fought. He'd had 10 fights. It was my first fight, and it was like it was a fuck up on the roster of this exhibition.
That's a big mismatch there. But
yeah, but anyway, the
ring. But...
yeah, but and I was all of a sudden I felt more confident in life going through that experience. So, but I was going to ask, is that something you would recommend for like young kids, like their development socially and for self-confidence to, you know, maybe move into some sort of self-defense? I
feel like even if they don't jump in the ring or something, even if they just have some classes, and I feel like there's so many benefits, not just boxing, you know, any kind of martial arts. I feel like it's good to have some kind of self-defense. Yeah. And like I said, it's good for like individual motivation as well. I mean, I came from team sports as well. I played rugby and things like that. I love both, but I feel like the individual is a lot of responsibility on yourself, and you tend to have to take that responsibility and accountability for yourself. And that teaches you a lot.
Yeah, is that what I was about to say? Is that probably one of the hardest things in the sport? Is like you're the one that's really got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off. Like it's not, you don't have 20 other teammates to say like, oh, we'll carry you through.
Yeah, well, the good thing is like boxing for Australia, I do have teammates, so we do travel together and stuff, and we train together. But it's like I said, you got to be accountable. It's all on you. You know, you can't rely on anyone else. So you can't rely on your coach. You can't blame your coach for, you know, not giving you the right advice. It's all on you. You can't wait till you get into the corner to be like, oh, what do I do? You know, you've got to think for yourself. Be there for yourself. Yeah.
And when you mentioned you fought, I think you were 15 fighting for Australia. So you've been fighting for Australia for like almost 10 years now, which is crazy because that's a super young age to be fighting for your country. But I've seen some of your fights, and you're always wearing AIS clothing, and I'm a former AIS athlete. So I just wanted to, did you live at the AIS, or do you go there for camps?
No, I did. I've been there for camps a lot as well, but I actually moved to the AIS for about it was a year and a half. We travelled a lot still in that, but we moved there before the Commonwealth Games, so I loved it. I love being fully focused. So I don't know if you can hear that; it's pretty loud. But so yeah, I moved there to be fully focused, to have no distractions. And that's the best environment to be in. You've got your food there, you've got the great training, you've got physios, everything, and you don't have to travel far for it. That's the thing. You know, when I was in Perth, I was driving, you know, an hour and trying to train at waist and things like that. And it does time consuming, and it's energy consuming as well. So to be at the AIS, no distractions, everything there. ready to go. The recovery center, just great facilities.
It's awesome. It's one thing, like, I always say to athletes going there now, I'm like, don't take that for granted, because I'm like, that's not how, even if you go to a bigger place in your career, like as a professional, and like, you're still not going to get better service than you get there. Because like, I remember I could call up and a physio would be booked, but there'd be 25 others that would be free. Or like a massage therapist, and then the dining hall is just constantly like, there's 18 different meals you can make or have, like every time.
Like salads and different things.
It was awesome. But because I became fond of the boxers at the AAS actually, because I don't know if he's still coaching, but it was a German coach at the time when I was there. I was there in 2010. Bodo, that's it.
Yeah.
And like intense guy, man. Holy shit.
It's so funny. Yeah, so I was at the end of his say reign era. I don't know, at the end of his stage. So I got a bit of him, and his style was completely different. So now we're trained by Coach Kevin Smith, and he's from Liverpool, but he's been training us since 2014, and such different training styles. I love it, but I really, really like Coach Kevin and just his brain for everything. And he's really someone that's actually kind of taught us and instilled the message in us to be responsible for yourself and, don't rely on other people. It's all on you.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, because when I was there, I was playing obviously soccer, and I thought we trained hard. I was like, we do doubles a day and this and that. And then when I saw the boxers, how they trained, I'm like, these guys are getting smashed every day. And I'm like, there's some day, like they're doing their own like tournaments or routines, or they've got their own fights, they're traveling. And like, sometimes I'm coming in the dining hall, someone's wearing like 8 jackets trying to like lose weight and eating like a slice of cheese, like they're not eating. And I'm like, this is just a whole different realm of commitment. Whereas we're doing whatever the fuck we want and training hard and having fun. It was a different level of like professionalism, I felt.
It's the making weight bit that always makes people have to go that little bit harder and train that bit extra as well to kind of get weight off. And the eating, sometimes some boxers will just not eat anything. Like I said, have like a slice of cheese, just like the randomest things. But
I couldn't believe it. I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, I got to make weight. I'm like, whoa, that's intense, man. Because you're in the middleweight class, aren't you? Is that close to like your natural weight, or do you have to cut quite a bit to make middleweight?
I'm not too bad, to be honest. So I used to sit there. Now I've like built myself into a bigger 75, so that I will have to cut. And that's the best way to do it. Really, I feel like not cut too much, but just a little bit. Make sure you're healthy, you're lean, you're fit, ready to go. But yeah, I used to cut quite a bit. I used to fight at 66 kilos when I was a junior. And I just did not know how to do it. I had no knowledge on it, on losing weight. So I'd just dehydrate the crap out of myself, and I wouldn't eat much. I'd go to school with like an apple, or I'd go like with a boiled egg and tuna. That's all I'd eat. That's the worst thing to do, is to starve yourself. Yeah. Like now that I realized, I used to, and then I went to 69 kilos and started to realize, the healthier way to do it. But now 75, I feel great this weight.
Oh, good. One thing for me, and we spoke of it earlier, like the accountability to individual sports, and in boxing, like you've got to dust yourself off when you lose. And yes, you have a team around you, but ultimately you're the one getting in the ring and like going to fight again after a loss for something. But I guess, and by the sound of it, you haven't had too many losses, which is great. But recovering, like your mentality when you recover from losses, because it's like a different loss, and maybe you're used to it with boxing, but for me, it's like a different loss to playing soccer, because like it's not necessarily someone beating me in a physical nature. Like, you know what I mean? I don't take offense to that. But if someone like knocked the shit out of me, I'd be like, fuck, I'd be gutted. And it'd be like self-confidence and stuff. But so from your perspective, how do you recover from losses? And it's something you've gotten better with more experience, I guess.
Yeah, it's so tough. It's so tough. I've had a couple of really tough losses. And I have my moments. Sometimes it's a lot harder when it's a very close decision, if it's a split decision. So
boxing
in the Commonwealth Games final, it was a split decision. I took that really tough. I thought all I had in my mind was like, I've got the gold medal, and it was a split decision. I actually fought her a couple of months after that and beat her as well. So I was like gutted that.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Credit to you though.
Yeah, so it was a bit gutting, but you know, it is so tough. It is so tough. So one of my hardest losses to date would have been not making the Rio Olympics.
Yeah.
So that for me, I took that tough. Like I really thought you've got to have the mindset though. You've got to have the mindset that you're going. You're 100% there. You've got to believe it. So I did. All I had in my mind was like, I'm going to, like, there's no way I'm not going to the Olympics. Like, what would I do if I didn't? You know, I'm there. So when I so there's 2 qualifications, one in China, one in Kazakhstan, and both decisions were tough ones. They were very close, or even I you know, in boxing, you know, it's not like crossing a finish line, you know, it's a judge's perspective. So
they're
so in my head, I'm thinking, I'm winning the fight. So you get into the corner, get into the, you know, in the middle of the ring at the end of the fight, the ref puts the other girl's hand. It's like, what? You know, so I think that's the hardest for me. I think I can take like a decent loss. I can take, you know, she got the better of me that time, but if it's a close one, it's just like, oh, you know, I could have done that a little bit more, or, you know, you have those thoughts in your head. And I took that really tough, actually. And for me, I found that I needed to be with my support network. So when I got home, I had to be with my family and friends. And I just had to like step away from it just until I was comfortable. And it wasn't that long, but, you know, I just didn't want to think anything boxing. I just wanted to have my family and friends around me. I just wanted to enjoy their company. And then, and I came back to it with a stronger mindset. And honestly, from that experience, like looking at it now in hindsight, I was 20 years old. I had a long way to go still, and I had a lot more improvements that I needed to make. You know, I would have made it there, but I don't think I would have medaled or anything like that. So now I've come a long way, and I've learned so much, and had just so many more life experiences. So I feel like it's toughened me up. It's toughened me up more so. I'm ready to go. I know that I can actually succeed at the Olympics now. You know, I'm not just going. I'm going there to win. I've got the gold medal on my mind. Nothing less. So,
do you reckon you'll look back? Because I did want to talk about when I was talking about recovering from losses, I was like, probably one of the biggest you've had to date, which I guess you've even like, you know, documented in different, you know, media forums around, you know, the shattering experience of not making Rio because you were building yourself up for it, and obviously the next Olympics is like 4 years away, so it's a long time in between bouts. But do you think you look back on it now as like that was a real defining point, and the way you came through that is only going to make you a better fighter for it, or does it still sting?
I mean, I feel like I'm over that now, and I feel like it. Oh, you know, it sucks, but I feel like I wouldn't be where I am without that experience.
Exactly. Yeah. That's cool because when I think of losing, well, not losing, but when I put yourself in that position, it's different to other sports. Like, I know boxing, you get in the ring maybe a couple months later and fight someone else again. But when you're trying to make an Olympics and you don't, there's 4 years to the next one. Yeah. So did you ever doubt wanting to come back, or did you want to, like, were you straight away like, no, I can't wait to get back in the ring and get in for Tokyo? What was your...
I already knew that my mindset straight onto Tokyo 2020, you know. And then I knew that in between that, the Commonwealth Games. So I had that major goal, like, I always knew that I was going to go to the Olympics. Like, that was my childhood dream. Like, I'm going to the Olympics. I didn't know what sport. Like, I thought I was going to go for rugby, and then I thought I was going to go for rugby and boxing. But we're here now, and I realized how much training went into just one sport. So
yeah, true. So do you still actually, one thing, this is what actually I think makes Caitlin Parker unique, people, is obviously the experience of, you know, shattering experience of not making Rio, but you've literally just come out and said you want to be the first Australian to win gold at boxing in Tokyo. Like, this complete vast experiences and the expectation, the drive you have, I think is awesome. Like, that makes you unique, and I love that in fighting that I don't think other sports have. Is like, it's perceived cocky or arrogant, or you're left to, like, you go against the grain if you state what you want publicly, or you know you're putting out what you want to manifest. Whereas fighting, it's like it's a given. If you're not doing that, then like, well,
I know what I want, and I know I'm going for nothing less. So
that's fucking sick. That's cool. Oh well, I can't wait. I can't wait for it. And do you think? I mean, has it the year off, or the extension of the Olympic Games, has that helped you, or has that been just frustrating because it's been pushed back?
There's been a lot of frustrations. So, you know, So at the start, I was supposed to actually fight in Wuhan in China. So
Wow.
2 days before we're leaving for there, the city got shut down. So like, 5 weeks later, we went for the actual Olympic trials. So that was a little bit of a lengthy process, but then qualified, happiest moment of my life.
Awesome.
And then I get home and straight into lockdown, and it was just more the unknowing. The unknowing of if the Olympics have been cancelled or what.
Yeah.
Like I was nervous about that. So it was actually a bit of a relief to hear that it had been postponed. Like I've waited so long already. I can just wait one more year and I can make so many so many little improvements. So the 1%ers every day. If I just improve myself, just fix something slightly, 1% every day, I'll be that much better.
Yeah. That's cool. So what are you looking beyond Tokyo yet with like your boxing and fighting career, or is Tokyo the only thing that's important to you?
Tokyo's the only thing on my mind now, honestly. I don't think about anything else yet. Whatever, I'm not someone that will set something in stone. Like obviously I've got my goal and that's Tokyo, but after that, I'll just see what happens. Commonwealth Games will be a year after. I love what I do. So if I don't love it, I won't do it. I'll do it as much as I enjoy what I do.
Yeah. Because when you're fighting at the Olympics, I guess for my own understanding, does that make you a pro boxer, or is it when usually people go, because they usually post Olympics then they turn pro, right? So how does that like work for you? Is that something you want to do, to turn pro post Olympics? If I'm sort of stating that correctly?
Yeah. So what I do at the moment is like Olympic boxing. So I get to fight for my country. And I get to travel the world doing different tournaments with Boxing Australia and things like that. So I love that. I love that side of things. I could look at going into professional boxing. It's just a different sport. It's not like it's just completely different. One's a sprint, one's a marathon. So I could look at doing professional boxing afterwards. But yeah, like I said, I haven't got my plans set in stone yet. But it could be an option.
I love that. You're just tunnel visioned on one goal, and like until that's achieved, like nothing else matters, right? Like I can have all the plans in the world, but you don't want to overpsych yourself. I love that, because I think sometimes athletes have too much of an expectation too far down the track and forget, the small milestones and the small goals that can make what's next better. And if you can't control the now, like it's gonna affect the future more so. So, No, one of the reasons why I was talking about pro, and this is someone that one of our mutual friends, Tina, she mentioned to me that Clarissa Shields, she's won Olympic gold medals in boxing, and I think she's held like multiple world titles in like different weight divisions. But apparently, and she's I think one of the most revered female boxers in the world today. So for people who don't know her, but apparently she gave you some high praise about your boxing. I don't know if that's true, but if so, like what did she say, or how did she see you fight?
So we've sparred a few times. Like we've known each other from the 2013 Youth World Championships. She's a year older than me, so we went to competition, and we've sparred a bit and stuff. But yeah, she's done a bit of commentary on some of the fights. She's just a great girl, She's straight up as well, but she's when we sparred and stuff, she's always will let me know how it's going and stuff, like with us. So with her, she's real good at she let the punches go fast, and she will sit in. So I knew that I'm not gonna like go and mix it with her. I'm gonna stay out long and pick it off. So she said that I was doing well with that. So yeah
that's awesome. Take that any day though.
Yeah, exactly.
So given the amount of, and this is just to kind of branch away a little bit from sport, because this is the other side of the athlete or the boxer that, outside of those 3 sessions a day when you're in the ring, like there's a lot of recovery time and a lot of downtime, and you travel so much, obviously. And I know I've seen it firsthand with the boxers at the AAS, the amount of tournaments they go to in some of the weirdest places too. Like you mentioned Kazakhstan before, like there's not too many sports being taken there, right? But how do you, do you enjoy all the traveling and like the different experiences and cultures you get to go to?
I love it. It's such a, I had only been to Australia and New Zealand before. And now I've traveled to, over like 20 countries and multiple times as well. Like I've been to Bulgaria like 4 times, and just random places like that, which you never would go really. I feel like to have that experience is invaluable. and to be able to represent your country as you do that is just even better. I meet so many amazing people and go to countries and areas that
it makes you so unique to everyone else. And I experienced it in my time at the AIS. We went to places around the world, and it was like everything was funded, and I'm playing a sport I love, and I'm like, this isn't normal. And but so can you actually? This is for me. Like, what's the best place you've been to, and then on top of that, what's the weirdest country you've been to, and why?
Okay. So my favorite is actually a recent one. I went to Tokyo, or Japan, but I went to Tokyo last year.
Didn't you go to the arena where the fights are going to be?
Yeah, I got to fight in the arena. So I was invited to the Olympic test event. So I think only 3 people in my weight division around the world were selected to go. So it was amazing. Cool. I got to fight in the arena and experience them in Tokyo, because obviously when I go to the Olympics, I'm so tunnel vision. Like, I'll just be in the village. I probably won't leave. And I'll have my finals on the last day, so I'll be there the whole time. That's cool. To be able to go and actually, I was only there for 5 days, but I got a couple of days where I was able to just like go out and just have a little look around, and I was just amazed. There's so many crazy things to do.
Tokyo's just so unique.
Sorry?
I said Tokyo's so unique.
It is. It is.
Yeah, can't compare it to anywhere. I've been to Tokyo. I can't compare it to any. And one thing I noticed about Japan, I don't know about you, but it's so clean. Like, everywhere is so clean. Like, the
Everyone's
road,
so
I'm like,
respectful as well. Like,
so respectful. Yeah. One experience I had. This is what I always framed the Japanese. Like, I'm so impressed by them and their mannerisms and how they like go about life. Because I ordered a car when I was there for soccer. Some of me and my teammates, we wanted to go. We had like a kind of like a team, not a chauffeur, but like a guy who would organise us anything we needed. So he's kind of like the conduit for helping us get around. And he organised us a car, and he came back to us. He goes, the guy said, he asked where we want to go. We said, he goes, the guy will be here in 7 minutes. 7. Like, we come from Australia, it'll be 5, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You know what I mean? He goes, he'll be in 7 minutes. It ticks 7 minutes. The car pulled up, and I'm like, what? Like, so punctual, you know? But then, yeah. So what's the quirkiest place you've been to, or somewhere unique that?
The country that shocked me the most really was India. Like, when I went to New Delhi, it was just unlike anywhere else. It was just crazy. It was mayhem. So many people. It was just quite confronting in a way. And I mean, we were able to go and see the Taj Mahal because we were there on a training camp. So we had one day that we were able to go see the Taj Mahal and like to experience their culture. It is very unique as well, just in a total way.
Yeah, I felt like that. India I've never been to, but I can imagine like what a culture shock that must be, right? Like, there's how many billion people there, and plus I don't know if it's the most hygienic place, but it seems like a place that's just non-stop and chaos.
It is chaos. It is.
Yeah. And then the other piece, I guess, I'm keen to understand about that, because one component is obviously you're traveling to all these places, but I also feel when you do travel in your position, you do see a lot of places from your hotel room. Like, you don't get to really go be the cultural tourist, and people are like, oh, did you go to this? Did you go to that? Like, no, I didn't leave my hotel room for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, very, very rarely we actually get to go and experience places. But if we're there in a training camp, we'll have like a Sunday off and we'll maybe go and do something. But like, I just went to, my last country was Jordan, Amman, to qualify for the Olympics. So I really wanted to go see Petra and the Dead Sea. I wasn't able to do that. I was literally in the hotel room and the training fight venue the whole time. So I definitely have to, if I can, go back there and just actually experience the place. Even places in Europe, I want to go just to actually do the touristy things as well and eat what I want. I like, go and have a big Nutella crepe or something. That's what I always do.
Get food poisoning on the side of the street and it'd be okay. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I did that.
I've been trouble.
Yeah, seriously. Well, so I stopped playing, just so for UK, I stopped playing soccer when I was young, but when I was playing at a relatively high level, one of the tournaments I went to was in Colombia, and I was like, just looking at this place from my hotel room, and I'm like, this looks like the coolest place ever. So I actually made a note to myself. I'm like, I'm coming back here when I'm not like an athlete, and I'm just going to explore the fuck out of it because I really want to see it. And I got the opportunity to do that a few years ago, and I was so amazed by it. And I'm like, how unfair was it that I came here like 6-7 years ago and just couldn't go outside and experience the culture or the people? the lifestyle and stuff. And
isn't it?
yeah, so, and then from the other aspect to traveling, and you mentioned obviously there's a lot of downtime outside of fighting, but how do you keep like balanced? Like, you know, who's Caitlin Parker away from the ring?
So for many, many years until isolation, isolation changes everyone.
It does.
So for many years, I always thought my whole focus has to be on boxing, nothing else. I can't do anything else, you know. And isolation, I started studying, and I've gone back to study at La Trobe University in Carlton College. So I'm doing a sports coaching and development course, and I love it. And I
awesome.
just it complements what I do so well, and I can take a lot of the knowledge that I get and actually apply it and just see how it works in real time. And I'm thinking, why didn't I do this so much sooner? You know, I just always thought like, nah, nothing can distract me, but it actually has done the opposite. It's actually helping me.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. But otherwise, I'd just be like in between trainings and stuff, I'd just be like, just resting for the next session. I'd always just be in my room, eat, you know, have a rest, next training session, because you've always got to be ready, and it takes a lot out.
Yeah, no, I'm so proud of you for that. I mean, you're still really young, so studying now, I think is a great step in your career, because the amount of PlayStation and TV shows I watched when I was playing, like, you know, because I didn't give a shit about anything else other than soccer. So my mindset was the exact same as you. Like, I need to be the best boxer, or else like nothing else matters.
Yeah.
And then I actually found like shortfalls and shortcomings with that approach, because I came out of the sport like not on my terms. So I literally had to like restart, and I didn't have, you know, that, you know, boxing, for example, to keep me different, keep me motivated, keep me disciplined, keep me hungry. Like once that was taken away from me, or I had to come out of it, it's like really fucking vulnerable, because I was like, I don't have a skill set anywhere else.
That's so tough, coming out of something you've been in the mindset and that's all you do for so long, and then just to have that taken away from you, that's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but it's funny because there's people that, and I thought it was harder on me because I'm like, oh, I didn't come out on my terms, and I spoke to a few of my friends who'd like been pro athletes their whole career and came out on their terms. They're like, nah, man, it's still fucking hard when you come out on your terms, because you're so used to it. You're so used to being unique, and that's why I think it's good. You're applying stuff elsewhere and seeing it broaden your even capability in what you're special at with boxing, because you know, like you can't fight forever, but at the same time, whilst you're there, you don't want to not maximize what you've got.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's a good step in the right direction for me, actually thinking about the future after boxing for once.
Yeah.
Nothing like that for so long. But yeah, I feel happy. I'm proud of myself for doing it as well.
I think you have to be a little bit crazy to be like you, surely. Yeah, to find fun and just smashing other people must be cool.
And enjoying it.
Yeah, and enjoying it. Yeah, no, I don't think I'm confidently gonna say I'm not getting in the ring with you ever, unless you want to hold pads for me.
You know.
Oh, no way. So I reckon you would be like, no, we'll just touch gloves, it'd be fine. And then like natural instinct would come in and you'd clock me and I'd be sleeping.
What if you got me one? I'd just have to like get you on back and it just
exactly. And then I'd be scared to hit you because I'm like, I can't make her angry, because if she starts trying, I'm dead. But you train, so you're from WA and you've obviously moved around a bit. You're in the Gold Coast now, but you're based in Melbourne. Like you do your training here.
Yeah, I'm all over the stuff. But yeah, I've moved to Melbourne. And I still have my my people in WA, and I still have sponsors in WA. But yeah, I've moved to Melbourne, and so I feel like I base myself. I've got 2 homes, but I love it in Melbourne. I'm down in Mornington area. It's beautiful, so beautiful.
Yeah, it's the best. I love it. Yeah. Well, now hopefully you'll be back soon, and life's getting more normal here. So. But one of the final things I wanted to say was just around like the competitions now and the process to Tokyo. Like what does that look like for you from a training and like competition point of view to be ready, I guess?
Yeah. So it's just all unknown at the moment. It can be frustrating as well, but we just, like I said, so I've come up to Queensland to get back into a routine and just make sure that my conditioning and my strength is is good at a good level, that I've got a good base, so that when I have to come into a fight camp, that I'm ready and I'm in a good shape and I'm uninjured and things like that. So yeah, like, there's still got to be the second qualifications, because boxing as a sport went through half of the qualifications. So we finished, Africa did their qualifications, Asia and Oceania, which I did. They went to Europe and they stopped it halfway through. So they've still got to go and to the Americas as well. And then Australia. So if you didn't qualify in the first event, you've got one more chance, and that's a world qualifier. So at the moment, it's just up in the air about when that will happen, where, and then for the other boxers to be ready. So obviously I don't need to do that. I just need to kind of focus on the Olympics, which I'm so thankful for. It's
that makes your situation so much better. Like, imagine
it's
having to...
stress for me. I feel for my other teammates who actually still have to do that, but I know that they're all tough, and you know they'll get through.
They'll come out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, Caitlin Parker.
1%.
Yeah, we're wrapping up. We're wrapping up on the 1%. So yeah, we're good. Nah, I just want to thank you for coming on the podcast. I think a lot of life lessons come out of boxing. I think everyone who's listening in will be rooting for you in Tokyo, and especially now we've heard a bit more about your story and the challenges to get to Tokyo. It wasn't like you were gifted Olympic qualification or going to be gifted gold, but you're going for it. So the Unlaced podcast and all the listeners, we're supporting you along the way. And I will post content of like maybe Katie punching me one day or something, or me
we'll have
trying
to do a little
pads.
training session together.
Yeah, we'll document it, and purely for comedy purposes, because I'm sure I'll get my ass whooped.
I'm looking forward to it now.
Shit. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure, and good luck with all your training over the coming weeks.
Thanks so much for having me, and I've enjoyed talking to you. So.
Oh, cool. Pleasure.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks.